Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Sunday, September the 30th. I'm Clay Emo at Canuck Clay on Twitter and my Clayton Emo on Instagram, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. Thank goodness, hallelujah, the preseason is over. The Canucks wound up their preseason by losing 4-1 to the Arizona Coyotes last night in Kelowna. Nikolai Goldobin with the only goal, solidifying maybe a roster spot for him. Assists from Brock Besser and Elias Pettersson. Tough game to watch. The Canucks did not play well, and yeah, I think it summed up the whole preseason. It was a perfect reflection of what the preseason was. Canucks wind up with a record of 1 win and 6 losses. The only win being a shootout victory that I was at actually over LA a couple weeks back. But now we can look forward to the start of the regular season, where the games start and count. They start for real and they count for real. And I jokingly tweeted last night that the Canucks strategy was brilliant. That strategy of saving all their goals and all their good play for the regular season. An opposite feeling I saw a lot of people had on Twitter last night, proclaiming this to be the worst Canucks team in franchise history. I don't know how you can say that after a few preseason games, but still, people were quick to proclaim it, maybe sarcastically or maybe not. Maybe they believe it. I say to you, slow your roll. It's only preseason. Yes, you want to see them have a record of 6 wins and 1 loss instead of 1 win and 6 losses, but it is what it is, so to speak. The real stuff starts on Wednesday. And if the Canucks start out 2-8 or 1-9 after 10 games after the end of the month, then I will be the first guy to say, you guys are right. This is the worst team or among the worst teams in franchise history. But I'm not ready to go there yet. Let's not anoint them with such a infamous title, so to speak, just yet. Let's see how they do in October when the games count for real. One thing the Canucks need to do before those games count for real is pare down the roster further. They have 26 guys right now, including Antoine Roussel. So presuming that he starts on the IR, you got to still cut 2 more guys, right, to get down to that 23-man active roster. I think the Canucks should go with 14 forwards and 7D. That means sending down Darren Archibald, sending down Alex Biega, and then that means you can keep Goldobin, Leipzig, and Mott all on the roster. So that's what I would do. 14 forwards, 7D, and of course the 2 goalies. Markstrom and Nilsson. If, though, for whatever reason they go 13 forwards and 8D and keep Biega up, then you have to send 2 forwards down. I think Goldobin has done enough to earn his spot, so maybe it's Leipzig and maybe it's Archibald, and it's either Leipzig or Mott, and likely Mott in that case, because Leipzig needs to clear waivers to go down, but Tyler Mott does not because of the number of games he's played so far in the NHL. One of those rules. So in essence, if the Canucks end up going 13 forwards and 8D, I expect it to be Darren Archibald and Tyler Mott. Maybe an outside chance is Brendan Leipzig. So that's the first thing, Canucks fans. Leave a comment below. Do you think it should go 14 and 7, i.e. send down 1 forward and 1D, or should it be 13 forwards and 8D, 13 and 8, and should the Canucks send down those 2 forwards? And if so, what 2 forwards should they send down? Leave a comment below. What 2 players do the Canucks need to send down before they freeze their roster on Tuesday? Okay, let's talk about the Central Division. Yesterday I talked about the Pacific Division, and much like yesterday's standings, predictions of the Pacific Division, I see the Central Division clearly divided into 3 tiers. An upper echelon, yesterday I talked about it was San Jose and Vegas. A middle group, yesterday I talked about it being LA, Anaheim, Calgary, and Edmonton, and then a bottom group, and it's Arizona and Vancouver. So with the Central Division, the top tier obviously are Winnipeg and Nashville, and it's really a pick'em. It really is. They were so close last year. They had that memorable playoff series in the second round last season. I think it could go either way. I'm going to pick Winnipeg only because, not only, but I'm Canadian. I've been to Winnipeg. I love the team. I enjoy the city, and I like a lot of the players on that team, including Hellebuck, Scheifele, Laine, Wheeler, and others. So it could go either way, like I said, but I'm going to pick Winnipeg as number 1, Nashville as number 2. Both teams very strong. Both teams hardly any changes. Most notable departures from Winnipeg, maybe forward Paul Stastny, and then for Nashville, it was Alexei Emelin and Mike Fisher are gone, and Dan Hamhuis comes in. So none of those changes really move the needle much. Let's go Winnipeg number 1, Nashville a close second. Then you have this next tier, and I'm going to go number 3. I'm going with St. Louis Blues. They had a very up and down season last year, but I think they were among the teams that were the most active and improved their team the most over the offseason. They traded for Ryan O'Reilly. They signed Tyler Bozak. They signed David Perron, and they signed Patrick Maroon. Those 4 forwards are an upgrade, a very strong upgrade, especially when you look at Ryan O'Reilly, a traditionally really strong, solid player on a bad team in Buffalo. So I see St. Louis, and don't forget they still have guys like Tarasenko. So I see St. Louis, maybe a couple, questions on in the back end, especially in net. But let's go with number 3, the St. Louis Blues. Then for number 4, I see the Dallas Stars finishing 4th. They had a really disappointing season last year, but you look at their firepower. They're strong, on D with Klingberg. They still have a good goalie in Bishop. So I see Dallas to kind of rebound. They finished 6th, I think, last year. So I see them, they have all that firepower up front. I see them bouncing back, and I think they're simply too good to finish where they did last year. So look for a bounce back season for Dallas, and coming in 4th, probably the one of the 2 wild card spots for the Western Conference overall. 5th and 6th, it's a toss-up for me. Still in this middle tier between Minnesota and Colorado. Minnesota, I know they finished surprisingly high last year in 3rd. I don't like them. They're boring. I know they've kind of changed. Maybe this goes back to Vancouver, Minnesota battles from decades ago, but I still find them a very boring team to watch. Eric Stahl did have a good year last year, and they do have some forwards, I guess, that are decent. You always have Ryan Suter in the back to worry about, decent goaltending. But to me, they're just kind of a boring team, and it's not like I have anything against them. It's not like I don't want to see them do well, but they do nothing for me. You can tell. You can just look at my face. Well, you probably don't want to look at my face. Nick and neck with them, Colorado. Now that's a team that I do like watching, whether it's Nathan McKinnon or whether it's Gabriel Landeskog or whoever it may be. But I think they overachieved last year a little bit when they snuck in, battling for the playoffs. And I think really when it comes down to it, they will drop as well, and they're going to finish in 5th or 6th. As much as I like them, I think the division's too strong when you look at Winnipeg, Nashville, and an improved St. Louis and Dallas team. So look for Minnesota and Colorado to finish 5th and 6th. If I had to rank them for the sake of putting them down in order, let's go Minnesota 5 and Colorado 6, and that's the middle tier. And then you have the once mighty Chicago Blackhawks. I don't delight in seeing them down at the bottom. All those Canucks Blackhawks rivalries were great at the start of this decade. I have no ill will towards them. I actually like players like Taves and Kane. Can't stand Keith, Seabrook, but you can tell as I name these guys, they're getting old. Corey Crawford can't stay healthy in net. So I think they got some young guys like Alistair Brinkett who are exciting, but I think they're caught in that trying to hold on, and as they see they played poorly last year, and as they see they're going to have to start to turn over their team, some salary cap issues obviously that have slowed down that turnover. But Chicago is simply not good enough in a strong division to do much better. So I see them finishing 7th. So in order to recap, Winnipeg, Nashville, St. Louis, Dallas, Minnesota, Colorado, and then Chicago. Canucks fans, hockey fans, what do you think? Do you agree with this ranking? Tell me, am I out to lunch? Am I giving too much props to St. Louis and Dallas? Not giving enough props to a team like, Minnesota and Colorado? And is my prediction of Winnipeg just over Nashville, is that fair? Do you think it can go either way? Or do you think one team will definitely separate itself from the other in the division? Leave a comment below about this, about the Canucks, how you're feeling going the season, whatever it may be. I'm going to read it, I'm going to react to it, and I'm going to reply to it. So enjoy the day, crappy day weather-wise, but we can look forward to real games that count in the standing starting this Wednesday. Have a great day. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Give this video a like if you like what I'm doing on this channel, and try and stay warm and dry. God bless, and go Canucks go.